Hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the KnitChat Cafe. It's Tuesday night. My name is Kelly, and I'm here with my good friend,
Natalie,
who is filling some shoes for Noelle while she's off in New Zealand. And currently, Noelle is getting ready to head to the airport. She is taking a flight from wherever they are now, which I'm not sure, and she's flying to Christchurch. So she couldn't be here tonight, and Natalie offered to join in. So this is Knits and Pieces, and this is our very informal Tuesday evening get together in a coffee shop, knit with your friends, chat about what's going on in your life, what's on your needles. And we are a multi-crafty, but mostly knitting podcast from Southwestern Ontario in Canada.
Julia did say everything sounds good and looks good.
Perfect. That's always the first question. We like it when everything sounds and looks good. Okay. So I see lots of people in here. And actually, I see that Noelle is in here as well, chatting away with some people in the tailgate. We like to call it the tailgate party. What happens before the show, the pre-show before the show. And there's a lot of you in here tonight from, oh gosh, everywhere. And we have somebody from Australia. Melinda's here from Australia. And Isabel is in Quebec. And she says, welcome, Natalie. A lot of you already know Natalie. Maybe, Natalie, you'd like to give a little introduction about what it is you do and how we know you.
Well, I've been on here once before, so some of you know me from there. So my side job is Remembrances Pottery. Kelly's holding one up at the moment. And my other side job is knitting patterns, colorwork knitting patterns under Natalie Sheldon in Ravelry. That's about it.
That's about it. I think you sold yourself a little bit short. It's definitely not it. You didn't mention that they are amazing mugs. Now I'll do a close-up now that you're no longer speaking. Look at these beautiful mugs that she makes. They are just, each one is a work of art. A lot of you will know the beautiful little, she makes mugs as well that have like little sweater motifs, little sock motifs. She's furiously looking around. You probably have no pottery near you.
I thought I'd have one, but they're all like way far away.
And then she also, her color work patterns are phenomenal. I don't know, how far ahead does your brain kind of work on a pattern? I know you were talking about something last night that you're already working on.
Yeah, the one I'm working on right now has been in my head for 2 years. So I need to get it on paper to get it out of there.
It's coming along though, right? You said you've got some things. Yes.
Yeah. I finished the chart yesterday. No, I finished the chart this morning.
Have you knit it yet? Or is it just like still very early?
Yeah, I'll probably start it after I get one thing off my needles. That'll be the next thing to go on. Thank you, Lynn.
Yes, you are being very modest. She's very creative. And she's a lover of all scrappy things too.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Am I ever?
We were chatting about this earlier and I said, she was looking at this glass dish behind me and she said, oh my gosh, scrappy things you could make just out of that one dish. I'm not the scrappy person. I can do scrappy if it's planned scrappy, but the two socks have to look like they would have to be equally scrappy, perfectly matched sock to sock. Or if it was, like mittens, they'd have to be perfectly matched. I once tried to purposely mismatch something. I ended up giving the socks away. I need the symmetry. I need to see the symmetry. I don't know. So anyway, maybe what we will do tonight, since you're wearing such a beautiful shawl, is talk about firstly what we're wearing.
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, absolutely.
I am wearing the, oh my goodness, hold on one second. Primavera Italiana. The one in her sample is 2 colors, but of course I had to use every last mini I had. It has flowers embroidered on it. It has a bobble edge on one side. If I hold it up against my sweater, you might see it. Whoops, there we go. And the other side is supposed to have a big chunky lace border. Mine has a leaf border from one of her other patterns because wide lace panels and I do not get along. So I still kept the lace. It still is lacy, but this was not an applied border.
Very
and then
nice.
Her pattern does show you where to add flowers, but I just kind of went rogue and put them pretty much everywhere.
I pulled in a picture from your Ravelry page. I'll share on the screen now so everybody can see it up close. It's absolutely beautiful. And the yarn you used?
It was, so years ago, Mars, who's Hey Brownberry, used to dye under the name Dynamics with one of her children.
Mm-hmm.
And she had 5 packs of minis available one year, and I bought 3. So it's all naturally dyed minis from years ago. She doesn't dye anymore.
Pretty. It's really pretty.
Mm-hmm. I actually really love it. I think it's the prettiest thing I've ever made.
It is. It's gorgeous. Natalie was working on it over some weekends at the coffee shop when we would get together, and it's so pretty. We all fell in love with it, and we were so excited when you were done, so you could show it off. Yeah.
And what are you wearing, Kelly?
I am wearing a 1 skein shawl, and this one is called Amphitrite by Ravelry Knits. It is 2 yarns held together. There's a mohair and a single, and it's actually hedgehog fibers. And it's the kid silk mohair is the colorway Magpie, which is hard to believe the way these 2 colors went together, because Magpie is almost white with black dots in it. And then the single is the hedgehog skinny singles, and it's called the colorway Cinder, and it was like a dark gray. And this is what came out of just this 1 skein. I thought I had a picture of it all pulled apart, like laid out, and I didn't in my Ravelry page. I was tardy in getting pictures in there because I've had this shawl for a long time. It's one of my favorites. It's unbelievably soft. And I'm actually wearing, for the first time ever, we talked about these, and I think I even showed it. This is one of the jewel pins. So it's jewel pronounced or spelled Jul, and it's just like a heavy brooch pin, and it screws into the back so that if you have a big open shawl like this, it doesn't do any damage, and it holds everything together. I had a black leather tie that I really like too. I looked around tonight. I can't find it. So this will have to do, but I really like this. I wear this shawl a lot with kind of more just like as a neck cover inside of a coat, but I like to have things like this at work with me too. Sometimes, look, if the back of your neck feels chilly, then you just feel cold everywhere. So if you just kind of wrap something cozy around your neck, then you're good to go. And I don't often wear shawls on here when I come on and chat. So I thought, usually it's a sweater, right?
Yeah.
Or something that I've sewn. So I thought, I'll just put a shawl on tonight because I knew you were wearing your shawl. So I thought we'd be some shawl twins tonight. So. Okay. All right. There's a couple of questions. Oh, no, the name. Did you get the name, Becky? I saw Sarah answered for us. Hi, Sarah. Oh, Noelle's back. Noelle, we miss you.
She's at the gas station.
At the gas station. She can't watch when she's driving. No, please. We have given people lectures on this, Noelle. Don't drive and watch KnitChat.
So dangerous.
So dangerous. So dangerous. Yes, absolutely. Okay. We had some questions or comments last week or not last week. Was it last week? Yes, last week. Yes, last week. And I just wanted to follow up on that before we move forward. One of the questions that came in was talking about the ribbon. Noelle had shown off a sweater that she did the steeking on, and she had the ribbon sewn on the back. And I don't really know, like, she had bought the ribbon at Fabricland here locally. They have, at best, what I would call a limited supply of something you might find nice for a sweater. And so a couple of people have sent in some suggestions for us. So I thought I would share that, and I will pop it into the show notes later. So if you miss it, don't worry about it. But two of the suggestions that we got, one of them is a store called Northern Threads Inc., and that's in Fairbanks, Alaska. And then
nice.
So I'm going to check it out. I haven't had a chance to check it out. These are just comments that I was going through throughout the week. And then the other one, and I think I have heard definitely of this one. This is called M&J Trimmings, and it's in New York City. So I'm going to check out both of those sites. I did also speak to Jolynn when we were at the Little Red Mitten, and I asked her if there's any possibility that she could source out some ribbons to bring in. And she said that there's a pretty good possibility, and she said she's going to look into that. So we might actually be able to shop a little closer to home too. We'll see in the future. And then the other comment that we were talking about last week is the Norwegian Purl. Have you tried it yet, Natalie? No. So
because mostly, so you were talking about it for color work. I do color work with one, like both yarns on one side, and I drop and pick up each time. Like I don't even hold two in one hand. I do one at a time.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I can't, it's the most comfortable for me. I cannot tension properly, and like I keep, every once in a while I'll try and practice the other way. I just can't get the hang of it. So I do it as if I was like knitting each individual color. So no, I've not tried Norwegian Purl, but I want to, because I've not tried it yet. Maybe that will be the one that works.
Okay. So Noelle popped onto it first, and she was doing her shift again cardigan, I think. Is that the one she was working on, the shift again? And so it has purl stitches in it. And it is, if you are a color work knitter where you're holding a yarn in each hand, which is how I do color work, it's tricky to do purl because you've got to keep bringing that yarn forward. So you have to determine, I guess it would be easier to do that if you were holding the purl yarn in your right hand, but you may not always want to do that depending on which color you're using for dominance. So she found a technique called the Norwegian Purl, and she said it was life-changing. And we mocked her. I laughed at her. You know, how can a stitch be life-changing? And then I cast on my most recent sweater, the Roost, and it has purl stitches. And I thought, well, okay, I'm going to do this Norwegian Purl. And you know what? I shouldn't have mocked her. It is life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. If you are a two-handed color work knitter, the Norwegian Purl. Now, this past weekend, Marianne from out west sent me a little video. She has actually taken that Norwegian Purl and she has Marianned the heck out of it. And she's done something a little bit different. And I'm intrigued. I was all done my color work, so I couldn't go back and try it, but I kept her little video that she sent me, and I'm going to try it. So we're just going to call that. I asked her, I said, what's that stitch? And she says, it's the Norwegian Purl Marianne style, or the MP style or something. I forget how she worded that. But anyway, I'm going to try that. But what I thought I would do tonight, because I had Mike just record a quick little thing of me doing 3 stitches in the Norwegian Purl, because we had people asking questions about it last week and the week before when Noelle was bragging about it. So I will go in here and I'll pop in this little video, and I've tried to do it very slowly so you can see it, and then I will kind of narrate it a little bit. Okay. So I'm holding it in the right hand. You just go in as if to purl, swing around, then you go back through, and that's your purl stitch. So you never have to bring that yarn forward. You always go behind it from the back. It's kind of like a dance. You like, Arn and Carlos call it the cha-cha-cha. And after a while, it gets so rhythmic. It's pretty slick. Like, look at those nice little purl bumps. I really like it. So I'll say it's life-changing.
So it's not just for color work. If you were just a knitter that holds your hand or yarn in your left hand, you can still purl that way.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, oh, Noelle's back to navigating. She can't watch KnitChat anymore and drive. Anyway, so Klaska's chimed in. She's talking about the Russian purl. She said she really likes that. But yeah, you could definitely, just if you're a continental knitter, I guess that's what you would do. I'm only a continental knitter in as far as when I'm doing color work. I'll put the yarn in both hands. I don't feel that I'm very fast that way. I'm slower than throwing the yarn. So therefore, it's just not what I want to do. Like, my brain doesn't want to work that way, but with color work, it knows it has to work that way. And I'm fine with it. What is Nick saying? Oh no, she's talking about socks. I thought she was, okay. Oh, she said she wants to complain about the Norwegian Purl or talk against it, but she says she learned her lesson because she said that she would never stray away from a heel flap and gusset, and then she met the shadow wrap heel and hasn't looked back, right? And how many times, actually, Natalie, you taught me the 9-inch circular needle for knitting. And
my favorite.
I was, I said, oh, I've tried it once or twice. I don't like it. And you told me you have to do one complete sock and then you'll be a convert. And I totally am. I do most of my socks on 9-inch circulars now, all because of you. And you're right.
I would go as far as saying, if you don't like it, anybody who's listening, if you don't like it, do one complete pair of socks. And by the end of the pair, you will be converted.
Well, I really like it that way. So,
now, I will say that when I'm just exhausted, I will still do the heel on 2 DPNs.
Okay.
Like I just put the front half of the sock on the 9-inch circular, tuck my ends in, and do the heel on DPNs.
Okay. Courtney's asking, did I find that it changed my gauge? Not at all. But Courtney, in fairness, the yarn that I'm using is the Jameson and Smith, which is such a toothy, grabby yarn that it practically knits itself. Like, if you're not careful, like I feel like it almost like they glue themselves together. I would never want to have to pick that out. Like, it's a really, it's what I would call a rustic yarn, but it doesn't feel rustic, but it's really rustic to knit with. So it works really well. Or I'm wondering if she's talking about 9-inch circulars. Did that change my gauge? Also, no, it did not change my gauge. No.
So Kathy Johnson is saying, I only knit socks 2 at a time. I am so impressed by people who can knit socks 2 at a time on one giant needle. I tried it. It's quite possible that that's the first yarn I threw in the garbage.
Really?
Well, first of all, I cannot magic loop. I have like a mental block for magic loop. I end up way too tight, way too loose, drop stitches. It's not my thing. So to do magic loop and have all those balls of yarn going, it blows my mind every time I see it.
But that's usually because you're doing color work as well, right? So you've got a little bit more than just 2 at a time going.
Even just a vanilla sock, I can't.
Really? I used to do most of my socks 2 at a time before I did the 9-inch, only because I don't like to have one sock done and then have to start all over again. I'd
Mm.
like to be done at the same time. So there's
I
chatter in here. Oh, carry on. Sorry.
I do enjoy, so I have two, mostly all my sock needles I have in sets of two, so that I can do like one cuff, one leg, one
So
leg.
you knit them in tandem.
Sometimes, not
Okay.
always. I
Okay.
don't generally have second sock syndrome. I'm just like, by the time I finish the first one, I'm like, I want the second one.
And I have to push myself to go back and do the second one. I'm kind of like, oh, been there, done that. Don't want to go back. Uh, there's chatter in here now about the 9-inch circulars. Which ones do we use? So somebody has mentioned that the chagus. For me, I will use them, but I find the chagus are quite pointy, and I sometimes push with my finger. So that's tricky. So for me, the perfect 9-inch circular is the Haya steel tip. It's the bluntest, I guess, of the 9-inch circulars that I have. I also have some wooden ones. I really like those. Those are by C Knits, and I do have the chagus, and I have a Haya sharp that I will almost always puncture my finger with. It's super sharp. Like
Yes.
I have darning needles that are less sharp than that needle. It's pointy.
I mostly use chagus just because for a while it was very hard here to get 9-inch circulars.
Mhm.
So the first person that would deliver them to me, that's who I ordered from, and they happened to be chagus. I have one pair of Haya. I'm assuming they're sharps because I punctured my thumb last night with it.
And there's no worse feeling. And then
No.
you think, okay, I'll just avoid that spot, and you're going to hit it every time.
I
You'll do
can
2 or 3 stitches and you
Yeah.
avoid it, and then all of a sudden, boom, that needle
Yeah.
goes right back into the same hole, and it hurts even more.
I can tell it apart because it's the only sock needle I have that has a blue cord. All my others are red. So I'm assuming all my others are chagu.
Yes, they're red. The Hayas are like a blue nylon cord. But I really like them. They're super comfortable. I've been trying to order more, and where I order my Haya steels from, they've been out of stock on the 2.25 for quite a while. So I'm patiently waiting, but I will get more.
There's a few places I've looked up that I've gotten 9-inch circulars in the past because I'm missing a few needles. I don't have any interchangeable sets. I only buy a needle when I don't already have it mostly. But I'm at the point now where, so I was working on my stocking, which is the same size as a hat needle. And I really want to start some hats. And I'm like, well, I can't start a hat until I finish my stocking because my needle is occupied.
Well, yes.
So I want to duplicate a couple of my needles, but I'm having a hard time finding places with them in stock that will ship.
Mm-hmm. Mimi's asking, on colorwork mittens, when the palm of the hand is a different chart, do 9-inch circulars make it easier and faster? I exclusively would knit mittens on colorwork if it's the front and back, and it's exclusively on the 9-inch circulars.
Same.
I find it's just so easy to do the color work. You don't get any of the, sometimes you can get, I used to use 2 needles, 2 16-inch needles, and sometimes you get that weird little tensioning, the laddering that goes down the sides. With the 9-inch circulars, of course, I don't get that.
The laddering or the puckering.
Or the puckering. Yes, sometimes the puckering when and you try to do all the things, like you try to spread it out, you try to make it look good, but it's because I think the cord is, of course, smaller than the needle, right? So that's the difficulty. So 9-inch circulars all the way for the mittens. If you are struggling and you find that your tension is a little too tight on a small circumference, you always have the option of flipping the work inside out and doing the color work inside out. You're still working on the right side of the stitching, but you're carrying your yarn to the outside. If that sounds confusing, I do have a tutorial. I'll pop it in here, 2443. I'll pop it in, and you can have a look at that. It's on the Tangled Stitch channel tutorials, and I'll show you how to do the color work inside out. that helps a lot of people.
I will add one thing. If you're doing a mitten, make sure you put stitch markers on like
Either side.
These two parts of your chart. Then you'll have way less problems.
That's right.
And Emmy would really, really like to know about the C-knit needles.
Okay, so they are, I will try to remember, Emmy, to bring them next week and show them, but because I know I don't have them here with me. They're upstairs in a bag. Or do I? Let me ever so quickly peek in here. They are
very intrigued.
Yes, they are wooden needles. And no, they're not in there. Excuse me. They're wooden needles on a very flexible little nylon cord. One, I believe, is a 2.5 inch tip, and then the other needle is a 2-inch tip.
Okay.
I like them. I do like them, but I like them for certain things. Like, I'm a person who likes to knit with wooden needles on certain yarns. So if I'm doing socks and it's like the, excuse me, I have a rough throat tonight. If it's like a German style yarn, like a Regia, I like a wooden needle. For other types of yarns, I like a metal needle. So they don't get a lot of use for me. And there was a fair bit of chatter when they came out about which hand do you hold the shorter needle in. So I tried them both ways and I didn't even notice a difference. So for me, they were just comfortable, but I will try to bring them next week and talk about them a little more. And then Sue is wondering if it's worth getting the ChiaoGoo blue interchangeable set for that. So the blue interchangeable set is the larger size needles. I have both sets. I have the red and the blue. And the red is obviously the set I would use for socks because those are the 2.25s, 2.5s. And then the blue set is a little bit bigger, but the blue set is super handy also for the sleeves of sweaters because you can go up to like 12-inch needle circumference there to do your sleeves. And to me, there is no worse thing than attempting a sweater using DPN on the sleeves. I'm sorry, I've said it. I will stick to it. I need a small circumference circular needle. I do not like magic looping my way through a sleeve either. I like that small circumference. So that's me.
I'm the same. And I will go as far as buying a 16, a 12, and a 9 in whatever size I need so that I can do the whole thing on a circular.
Yeah. And Julie is answering the questions. The 2.25 would be in the red set. Yes. They go from I believe a 2.25 to a 3. No, that doesn't sound right. That can't be right. 2, 3. I'm picturing it. I can't quite get, or maybe it's a 3.5. Help me out, Julia, if you're there. Anyway, I know that the red set is the smaller set. That's my sock set. And then the blue one is what I would typically call sleeves and mittens, things that are a little bit bigger. So it is, Sue says that's quite an investment. It is. It really is. Because you still, as Sue is 3.25. Thank you, Emmy. So as Sue is pointing out, you still have another set as well, because these are only the very short, like when I talk about the red and blue set, these are 3-inch, 2-inch and 3-inch tips. They're very small. So you can't really knit a larger, I mean, you could, but you would really fatigue your hand if you were trying to knit like a bigger project on very small. Right. So you still need a larger set. For myself, I went with Wendy's asking, do I use my Knitter's Pride set, which is the teal set that they came out with, the Mindful collection. And those are 5-inch tips. I love them. I like them better than my ChiaoGoos. Noelle and I were talking about that. She prefers her ChiaoGoos. I prefer the Mindful set to the full-size ChiaoGoos. So it's just, there's no right, there's no wrong. It's really just what you like. We like what we like. We've said that so many times, right? Okay. All right, we're 30 minutes in and we've got a lot of ground to cover, I feel
We've
like.
covered what we're wearing.
We've covered what we're wearing and needles, which wasn't even on the agenda. So, and that's typical of coffee house chat, isn't it?
It sure is.
You think, oh, I'm going to bring this up, and yeah, it doesn't even happen. Anyway, what we wanted to talk about next, you wanted to do a giveaway. So this is a good time to talk about a giveaway because we can chit chat. You want to talk about it?
Sure. We'll do the same thing as last time. You'll get a code and you can get whatever you can choose whatever you want.
Of your patterns.
From my Ravelry shop. That's the only way a code can work.
Yes. Okay. So
and I should specify, you can, I guess if you can't use Ravelry, I can email you the file as well.
Okay. So we're gonna use the little spinny tool. I'm gonna put that up. Tonight's word is #March socks. So if you would like to win an opportunity to pick one of Natalie's patterns, then go ahead and type that into your keyboard, your device, whatever it is that you're using, and we'll let this run for a little bit.
And if you're not a colorwork knitter, but you know someone who is, you can still enter and send it as a gift.
Oh, that's very nice too. There we go. You also were talking about another discount code that you wanted to.
Yeah. So loads of people are entering. If you don't want to miss out, we're going to do a 25% discount on any pattern in my Ravelry. I wish I could do it across the board, like in Shopify as well, but I have yet to figure out how to do a discount code in Shopify. I don't think I can. So 25% off from tonight until the end of next Tuesday after the next Knit Chat Cafe.
Should be the 14th. Okay.
And the code is KNP25. KNP uppercase.
Okay.
And then 25.
I'll put that up on the screen after too.
Okay.
Not too much. Making notes, and I'll add it in the show notes after too. Okay, so we'll let this go for a few more minutes. Somebody was commenting that there's a new Chagu set out too, of the yellow set. Have you seen that one?
I have not. I have to admit, I am a creature of habit, and I will stick with what I have until all of a sudden it doesn't work for what I'm doing, and then I will look for something new. I don't browse very much, is what I should say.
Well, the yellow set are larger, even still needles, and I don't know that I'd have a lot of use for them. Like even in the blue set that goes up to, I don't know, I might go as large as a 5.5 needle. That's probably about the largest I knit with. I don't do a lot of things with the chunkier yarns, so I might struggle to use those. Certainly wouldn't need a whole set of them, that's for sure.
I think my sweater I'm knitting currently is either a 5 or a 5.5. I was working on a blanket that was on 7mm, but they were straight needles, so I didn't. Oh, thank you. Nick said my patterns are so pretty.
She's not wrong. They are. They're beautiful patterns. We're going to show some off after too.
Are we? Oh yeah, because I'm knitting some.
Are we? She says. Okay, we're going to give just a few more seconds here. Noelle usually counts down in record speed, but okay. So I'm going to go in. Let's do this draw and see where it stops. We have 169 entries. Oh, 172. Somebody squeaked in. We'll draw. Where will it stop? Klaska. Yay! Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
You won't be disappointed.
Klaska, I don't know if you're a Ravelry user or not. So if you're not, then we'll figure out a way to get it to you.
And if you can send, I'll tell you what, this might be easier. If you send an email to knitsandpiecespodcast@gmail.com, then I'll forward that to Natalie and she can get that pattern gifted out to you. Okay. And
she is a Ravelry user. Okay, so that's perfect.
Okay. And then you also said, just before we leave the giveaway, you said that we would do one for
the people who are watching the replay
later. So
yeah.
Tonight, after the podcast is finished, and it's up onto YouTube, if you want to go below the video and leave a comment, again, hashtag March Socks, then we will do the draw just before next week's Knit Chat, and we'll let you know. That way everybody gets a chance to win. Okay.
You may see someone peep across the bottom of the screen. My cat just joined me. I can't shut my door or she would have been busting it down. So
I thought I heard a cat. Yeah. All right. So let's talk now then about what are you working on?
What I'm working on. Okay. I will start with the sweater I'm working on. And I feel like I've been working on it forever, but I actually only started it in 2023. It's the Building Blocks Drop by Amy Scher.
I have a picture here to share of it so everybody can see.
Oh, her pictures are so good.
I may just have told you a story. I thought I had a picture of it. Oh, I made a banner. Okay, well, I'll at least do that. How about that?
Okay, so I am doing mine. Oh, you know what? I actually don't know what the yarn is.
Okay.
That's horrible. Because, so I bought this yarn years and years and years ago. It was my first sweater quantity. I had wrapped it into balls and started a project. But it was an all-over cable knit sweater. And the sleeves and the body ended up with totally different gauge. So I ripped it out. And not even just the sleeves and the body, like the ribbing was off, every part of it. Every time you changed something, my gauge changed. And it was just a mess. So I ripped it out, rolled it back up into balls, and put it on the shelf. So the labels have been gone forever. But it is worsted weight. And it's just like a plain undyed. So I have, you can't even see what I have. I have one sweater. So it's a drop shoulder. Okay. This is my first drop shoulder sweater. I have one sleeve done. And it was hibernating for a while because I did the medium body and the large sleeve. Because she says in the pattern, if you have like a full bicep or whatever, to go up one size in the sleeve, which I did. And I still thought it was too tight when I tried it on the first time. So I went back and I added the collar. I debated blocking it to try it on again, but I did not. And then what I did was the second time I tried it on with like the style of shirt I would be wearing underneath it instead of a big old baggy t-shirt. And when the drop shoulder falls where it's supposed to be, I actually quite like the fit. So now I'm ready to go back and add the second sleeve, knowing that I don't have to rip it. Oh, someone says I'm very fuzzy. Am I?
When you move.
Oh, okay.
Stay very still.
I will stay still. So now I'm ready to go back and add the second shoulder, which I would have started last night, but it has short rows at the very beginning. And I did not have capacity last night for short rows. So, and then it's going to have, go slowly. It's going to have pockets.
Oh, that's right. It has the pockets down near the waistband almost, right? They're low.
Right. And I was going to go ahead and do those before the sleeve. But then I think it's one of her test knitters did it with a kangaroo pocket. And now I'm having a hard time
Oh.
deciding if I want a kangaroo pocket or the 2 regular
Oh, that's a
pockets.
tough one. Kangaroo pockets are the best.
Because it's such a big, like the body is so big and oversized, I feel like a kangaroo pocket is just perfect for it.
It becomes
But
that perfect sweatshirt then,
yeah,
right? Knitted sweatshirt, yeah.
but the pattern doesn't come with the kangaroo pocket. Her test knitter just did it, or whoever I
Mm.
saw the picture. So it would just take like a little bit of math. So the pocket will be at the end. Julia says kangaroo. I'm quite leaning that way.
Kangaroo for the win, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. I talked about this earlier, and I also realized we probably should have talked about finishes first, but that's okay. We'll talk about this. So I finished my roost color work. I don't know. I think I've twisted something here. There we go. Let's go this way. And I'm really liking it. It's showing up more yellow, I think, on screen than it actually is. But I'm down below the color work now. I'm into the gray body. This is so. Here's a close up of some of these Norwegian pearls that are in there. I really like this. I really like this. It's fun.
I'm not very familiar with the roost. Is that
I
all the color work that's in it?
That's pretty much all the color work. I should show off. I do have a picture in here. I think I didn't have this last week. There we go.
Okay.
So my colors are actually very similar.
Very close. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and it wasn't planned that way. I knew what the picture looked like, and I knew that I wanted gold in with this gray, but then I just chose some random colors, and it actually kind of sort of came out. Mine are a little brighter, maybe. The gold and the orange is a little bit brighter, but it's so much fun. So now I'm hooked on purl in a color work sweater, really hooked on it. And the sweater is by, just a moment, I can do this. Oh, I guess we didn't finish the banner, but it's the Roost Pullover by Amy Christoffers. And I'm using the Jameson and Smith. I don't know, what are they? Do they call this jumper weight? Yeah, the 2-ply jumper weight for all of the color work. And this beautiful yarn here is Biche and Bouche.
I love it.
And it's the Petite Lamb's wool. So it feels rustic, but super, super soft. And this color work, like I said, I just had so much fun doing the color work. I didn't want the color work to end. But it did take a long time. It's kind of deceiving. It's a fingering weight sweater. So I have no anticipation of having this done really like super quick. I think I have none of the gold left. Like I have a teeny, teeny, tiny little, I don't even know if it's still in here. Yeah, there it is. Teeny, tiny little ball of yellow. Oh. That's it. So what I was thinking though, and it's not a very big contrast, but it's a little bit of a contrast. I think I may end up doing like right on the edge of the sleeves. I may do a few rows of the purple just for just a tiny bit of contrast. And then on the waistband, I think I might finish it off with the purple because I really like that color. So,
and it's always such a nice look. Just that little touch.
That little color. I kind of wish I had done it on the collar as well. But anyway,
but there's I like it. Really there's a lot going on already up here.
Yeah.
So it won't look out of place that it's not there.
No, I don't think so. So anyway, I worked a little bit on that. I didn't have a lot of time for working on things this week. I had a little visitor. We'll get back to the little visitor after. Are you working on anything else? Let's finish up what we're working on.
That is all I can share that I'm working on. I have, why not? Let's just share some secrets. I'm working on a future sock. So this is the only other I mean, I cast on just a plain vanilla sock, but it's not here. I'm leaving it at work until it's done. It's a field of fiddleheads.
Oh, I like it. It also reminds me of the Lollipop Guild in The Wizard of Oz. I don't know why. It just looks like a field of lollipops.
And what you can't see is how much this green sparkles. It's a ridiculous. It has gold. I'm wondering if I get close
there.
enough.
If you hold, there we go. Oh wow, that's really pretty.
Now this is unblocked. I'm working on a set of 4 botanical socks, 1 for each season. So this is spring. Fiddlehead's nice. So Canadian. Yeah, maybe. Oh, Laura Dennis. I know that person from a long time ago.
I showed this last week, but I'll show it again just because Natalie is here with us. This is Natalie's colorwork sock pattern, the Merry and Bright. I do have a banner for it. And where did it go?
We'll need the banner multiple times tonight.
There we go. The Merry and Bright socks. So this is all over colorwork. This is kind of the side, and every banner is a different word, or each section. And I'm knitting this as an Advent sock where I'm doing a row a month. But I did this in January. So January was all of this, and then February and March. And I think next month I want to do all jewel tones. So I'm thinking a beautiful royal blue might come next. We'll see. I'll dig into the scrappy pile. And this is as scrappy as I can get, Natalie. I'm sorry. Both of these socks have to match too. This is scrappy for me. And I'm using, so far, I didn't plan this, but so far I've just dug into my Knit Pick stash, and these are all colors of Stroll. And that gray has Stellina in it as well. It doesn't show a lot. It's probably some of the less Stellina that they have. Other colors that they've had which were brighter or more Stellina, same content, but somehow it looked like there was more. But I'm loving this. It's so fun.
I love how crisp yours is turning out. Like that, the bright on the yellow.
Yes.
Is
I know.
like,
who would think that they would be such colors, right? I really like it. So I can't wait to get these finished. And these are for me. These are for nobody but me. I will be enjoying these. My goal is to finish them at the end of November though, because I want to be able to wear them all through December. So they're super pretty. You had some other color work that you're working on.
Well, since you showed that one, I'll show the one. I have finished one sock because, unlike Kelly, I have no self-control. And my plan was to do 2 stripes a month.
Right.
I needed a head start, though, because same thing, I want to finish mine in November. So the goal was 2 stripes a month, and I have 1 sock.
Oh, yes, so you did. You really took off.
This is what it looks like. So this is what Kelly's here.
Yeah.
And then I have finished. So this is the right leg because the words are on the outside of the leg and the front until you get to the toe, and then they're all only across the front.
That just looks so cool. I can't wait.
And this one isn't blocked either. I steam blocked it, but it's going to need to be properly blocked when I finish the other one. I just didn't want to block them separately. And so what I'm doing is I have 2 colors throughout. This is Small Bird Workshop, and it's a wool and hemp blend instead of nylon.
Nice.
So I'm trying this out.
Is it soft? Is it really soft?
I would say it feels exactly like normal yarn. Like, I was expecting it to be like fibery, you know what I mean? Like, like, you know, when you've got cordage, I was expecting it to fall that side of the line.
But I'm thinking more like, I guess I was thinking like hemp bamboo-ish, like
Okay, it's
when
not
you're
like bamboo.
okay, because like when you're using fabric that has bamboo or hemp, it's
Mhm.
very, very soft.
Yeah.
So
Okay, it's nothing like bamboo that I've used.
okay.
Bamboo I find very slippery. This leans more towards rustic, but like how do I explain it? It leans towards rustic, but is next to skin.
Okay.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a problem doing this one. And then what I'm doing is I'm using 6 different scraps for my heels, toes, and
That's
cuffs.
where the scrap is
That's
coming
where
in.
my scrap is coming in. So mine will be the same all through and then different on the edges. And I almost reversed all of these on the second sock. Like I was thinking of reversing them, but I'm not going to.
Okay. Very
I'm going to
nice.
stick with 2 of the same sock and then just keep the difference here. Jean wants to know if I go up a needle size when doing colorwork socks. I go up 2. Normally I knit on a 2.25. I do colorwork on a 2.75.
Okay. And I'm doing mine on a 2.5. I haven't tried this on my foot yet. I have that high instep. Everybody who knows me knows I have that high instep. So I'm hoping this will be okay. Like when I stretch this out, it just has to go over. My foot is narrow. It's just the high instep. So traditionally what I do is once I get down past the heel, I drop back down to my 2.25.
Oh.
Yeah. Just so I can get I like my sock to fit well through the foot. Now, having said that, I don't know if I'll do that with these because the stroll is what I would also call a light fingering, right? It's a little bit lighter. So I may not drop back down, or I might, or, you know, like I might kind of halfway through the foot. But like when I did the herding sock or herding cats socks, I did that on a 2.5. Some of those yarns felt definitely chunkier than this. And that sock goes on completely fine. But then for the foot, I knew it was going to be too loose. So I dropped back down to the 2.25 once I got past the heel. And that gave me a good fit for my foot. But this, like, it feels very like stretchy.
It
So
looks, yeah.
I think I'm going to have no problem. But that will determine, like I will try it on when I get a little bit closer. And then that I'll know by that if I need to go down for the foot. So yeah. Oh, so Julia said, yes, the Brooklyn Tweed Loft. It's like that yarn that you're working with. It's really rough, but
okay.
it's skin friendly rustic. So, although I don't know, no, I think it's a different Brooklyn Tweed. I made a cowl in Brooklyn Tweed, and I still find it's fairly rustic around my neck. I don't know.
I can't compare. I've not tried any Brooklyn Tweed yet.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else to talk about that goes with these socks?
I do. So the pattern, the Merriam Bright, is a sock and a bobble pattern.
Yeah, it's 2 for 1.
Yes, it is. And that is my other finished project. Oh, I should probably say that I'm hosting a year-long Cal for the Merriam Bright.
Yes, you should.
So it's in sort of like 3 parts. You have the year to knit the socks. You have a year to knit the dozen bobbles. And then like the grand prize will be for someone who does the socks and the bobbles. So a lot of the words from the sock are in the bobble pattern. I don't think it's every single one of them because I think a couple of them were too long, but then you get extra words like, oh no, I ended up putting Noel in the sock as well. But you also get some that are just
patterns.
And I have to hold this up so you can see the top because it's my favorite part.
Oh, I like that.
The little,
yeah, it looks like the metal,
cap. Yeah. So these are knit from the bottom up, and there's a small opening. You stuff it from the bottom and then seam it shut. It's just like an inch or so.
And so what size balls are they? What size clear balls did you buy?
These are stuffed with wool.
Oh, But they're so
So
perfectly round. Noelle would
okay,
be proud.
so that is a tip I have. This one was stuffed with like just commercial polyester or whatever stuffing. This is an older one. It's it looks round on screen. This one is less round. It doesn't keep its shape as easily.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I'm using waste yarn that I'm just fluff. Oh, my cat just stole one and took off with it. So I was going to show you my January, February, March. I am now showing you February. No, March, and one from February. So there's 3 shapes in the pattern. You get this shape.
I like that shape. That's so cool.
You get round, and that both of these are in 2 sizes. And she took it, but I got it. And you get a teardrop.
Oh, so pretty.
Okay, and this one also is in 2 sizes.
You said that you stuffed them with what? With yarn?
So I have like waste wool. Like years ago, a farmer I knew was getting rid of the stuff they sheared off their sheep because they raised them for meat. And I was like, oh, I'll take it, not knowing what I would ever do with it. And so that's what I'm using. I comb it out into fluff and then use that to stuff because it's not a very soft fiber. So it holds its shape really well in the ball.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Somebody asked me about it. So I looked up if you can buy it from places, and a lot of like mills or farmers will sell their like offcuts or whatever for very cheap. Some places will give it to you, and then some places sell it like by the pound or whatever. So
RK says the balls must smell sheepy. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's why the cat wants them, probably.
No, she's just a disturber of the piece. No, I smell nothing at all.
Really?
Really. And I have an overdeveloped sense of smell. So now I have washed, the fleece has been washed multiple times because it was just like waste from whatever. And it's been stored. It's also been, I tried naturally dyeing some fiber before, and I didn't want to wreck my fiber. So I threw some of this stuff in first to see. Okay. So it's been through multiple processes. So it has no smell left.
Yeah. Very nice.
So my plan was to do, so the knit along is to have 12 at the end of the year. And I know I'm using them as gift toppers. So I'm knitting 24 so that I can give a bunch away. And I'm knitting them in pairs, which is a mistake because I don't want to split this pair up. And so the other one I have, this is why I'm just going to grab it. She's left it. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. If you don't follow Natalie already on Instagram.
I wanted to show something as an option. This is self-striping yarn, Woolens and Nosh from the Pretty Felt Garland.
That's a fun idea.
This is exactly how much I had left after knitting my hat. I had like 6 inches left after this ball. And I wasn't concerned about it because I figured I could just like do an extra stripe or 2 of whatever else. But you can also use up, this is a scrap one, it looks exactly the same. And I did this before I ever even had this yarn, which is hilarious.
Very nice. Yes.
So you can use like this whole ball is 5 grams of yarn. So if you have like, I collect even like teensy little bits of yarn and I put them separately. So if you have like 1 gram pieces, you can use them. There's a use for 1 gram pieces.
Not in my world, but in yours, there is.
And actually what I'm doing is because like this yarn felts too much to use as socks. So I have a scrap bin. It's under this sticker. But right here, well, there's a sticker on my screen. Right here is where I keep my scraps of sock yarn.
Yep.
And then I have another one of those where I keep my scraps that I don't want to use for socks. And that's what I'm digging into for these baubles.
Okay.
Because, like, I'm never going to put these in the washing machine.
No.
So, and I just realized the other day, because my cat took one the other day when I was using them, if you have children, toddlers, or pets that attack your Christmas tree, perfect.
Yeah, we can't break those. I might have to knit some for Kendall this year because Miles the other day had a long dish with, like decorative balls.
Mm-hmm.
But a ball is a ball to a toddler. And he wandered over, he saw the big dish, he picked up one of the, I don't know what they're made out of. They're not glass, but I don't know what they're made out of. Some kind of like a resin. Oh, it must be a ball. It must bounce. Smash. Just smashed it into pieces. So you're right. Those would be a good idea for Christmas trees if you have toddlers. Perfect idea.
And depending on what size yarn you use, like this is the small pattern with fingering weight. But then you can get like Chelsea makes, if any of you follow her, she's making some out of DK. So they're coming out, like even the small one is coming out this big,
pretty big
in DK.
Yeah.
Because as long as you change your needle size, it doesn't matter what size yarn you're using.
Oh, that's a fun idea. Moni says that she makes baubles and she sneaks them onto people's trees during the holiday. That would be so much fun.
That would be hilarious.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Yes. Okay.
That's it for the Merry and Bright.
That's it for the Merry and Bright. Okay. I said that I would talk about the fact that I had a little visitor. I had a little visitor this weekend. He arrived with his mom on Thursday evening, and they were here. We took them back to the airport on Monday. So I had a couple of finishes this week, one that I'll show you after. But another finish that I had was actually a little bit of sewing, because it seemed that Mr. Miles needed a pair of PJs for Grandma's house. So I made him these little flannel PJs, and I'll show you the close-up. They're actually sleepy little sloths, and they could not be cuter. Like, they just could not be cuter. And
they're fantastic.
Oh gosh, I was going to say I have a picture of him. Oh, and I didn't upload the picture. Are you kidding me? Darn it. Okay. Well, I'm going to show them again next week. You're going to see the picture, because I have a picture of him sitting in a rocking chair and with his little PJs on. He was just adorable. Just the sound of those little feet running around my house, because that's what he does. He runs. He can't walk anywhere. He has to run. And then the other fun thing that we did this weekend, while Kendall was here, she found a box packed away of my son's things. And in the box were these vintage Oshkosh coveralls, the pinstripe ones, complete with the little strap to hang the hammer in, the little carpenter's pockets. So she asked her brother if it'd be okay if she washed this stuff up. And then the other thing that she washed up, look at this. I made that sweater set for my son. It's almost 25 years old. And you can see a little bit better picture of it here. I loved making this. I'll bet you there are people in here that remember this pattern. It was Peyton's pattern, and that was the Peyton's Shetland Chunky yarn. I made him a sweater set, or my son a sweater set, and I made Kendall a little bit bigger. And we even have a little video, because Miles' most fun thing to do right now
Peek through. Yay!
Get any? Is to smash snow. He just had the best time doing that. But I'm telling you, test of time is a little, I think it's an acrylic yarn. It's probably been washed 100 times by myself before it got packed away. She pulled it out almost 25 years later, threw it in the laundry, and Miles was running around wearing it this weekend. So truly, things just last, I was so impressed by that. And anyway, so she's going to take it back home and let him wear it for a year or so. And then I'm guessing it will come back again. Maureen says she remembers that set. It was such a fun set. You know what though? I should have brought it down to show. It's still sitting upstairs. I have to put it in a box. But anyway, when I looked inside and I looked at the stitching and the way I put the sweater together, I said to Kendall, I said, oh gosh, don't tell anybody that your mother made this, because I was sort of self-taught, and I look at it now and I think, okay, I'm a little bit better than I was then. So it didn't look up to my standards today. Let's just say that. But anyway, she loved it. He looked super cute in it. And we had a great weekend going back down through memory lane. That was pretty fun.
How fun is that?
Yeah. So it certainly hung up, or I forget what the word I'm trying to say. It held up. That's what I'm trying to say. It held up all that time. And then I did have another finish this week too, because I'm on this thing to challenge myself to pull out these older whips that need to be done. And I don't think I've missed a week. I'm pretty proud of myself. So you may remember that maybe a month ago, I showed these as a finish. This is not my finish. This is last month's finish. So these are the Ramble gloves. And this week I finished, sorry about that noise. I finished a hat to go with them. Look at this.
Is it as raspberry as it looks?
Absolutely, it is.
Oh, it's so good.
It's definitely raspberry. Like if you hold it up against my skin, you can see it's raspberry. I can't try it on. I've got this big bun today. It won't go on. Well, it might go on over my head. I don't know, because you're going to see my pencil head in full view now. I haven't even tried it on. There. See, my bun holds it up perfectly. So it should be a little slouchier when the bun is not there. But I switched from the pattern. So this is the actual pattern, and it's supposed to be a twisted rib, but I've complained for quite a while about how I don't like my very thin head, that I need like some weight around here to kind of round my head out. My daughter has a perfect head for hats, beautifully round head. I don't have that. So anyway, I finished this. The pattern and the yarn is by, there's a look, see, by the Blue Brick. And this weight is her Muskoka DK. It's the label, and it's her pattern as well. I bought this set. So this is Stash too. I did buy it in Kitchener. And it's been sitting there. I wanted to cast it on right away, but I'm a procrastinator. I'm hoping that the hat doesn't stretch out. It is a super wash. I'm hoping it doesn't stretch out too much, because then I think it might get a little bit loose. I'm also wondering, I have a little bit of blue yarn left over. I made the size small in the hand warmers and the hat. And the way this kit was sold, there was a larger skein for the hat and then 2 small skeins for the gloves. It was sold as a kit. But since I made the size small, I have all of this left over. And I'm debating, I kind of wish there was a little bit more blue on the hat the way there is on the gloves. So I'm wondering if I should make a blue pom-pom.
Yes.
Just to finish it off.
Definitely.
Julia says it's a Smurf head. Yes, I do. I have a Smurf head. Or a pencil head. So I think I will make the pom-pom for it in blue. I might even have, actually, I think I have some of the raspberry color left too. Maybe a smaller ball. Maybe I'll put both colors in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it just needs a little something to add a little more blue. But to be honest, I like this color against my face. So
yeah, it's really good. And if you look at your gloves are mostly blue with a bit of red. Yeah. So it looks totally intentional that your hat is mostly red with a bit of blue.
Well, that's a good point too. Good point. Okay. Well, that's my whip for the week, or finish for the week, on projects that have been languishing. So I think since I started this, I think I have actually knocked off about, I want to say 5 or 6 projects out of languishing whips this year already.
Mhm.
I'm feeling very accomplished. Not going to lie. That
I
makes
feel
me feel like I've got some things under control.
yeah.
And
I would say you're at 6 or 7.
you think?
Yeah, because you hit 5 a little while ago.
Okay, well, then I feel even more accomplished.
Not that I'm keeping track.
I might have to like jot down something just so I have a guideline for myself. I don't know when this will end. My languishing whips are kind of coming honestly to an end. Aside from the fact that I have some languishing sweaters, and I don't know if I can finish off a sweater in a week. As I said, this week there was precious little knit time, as you can imagine. So I don't know. We'll see what next week brings.
Mine, I'm doing 1 per month.
One per month.
My
Okay.
languishing whips. And I say 1 per month, but like my blanket that is languishing, I knit the strips. So I'm knitting it in strips and mattress stitching them together. I knit the strips that I was missing in February. I'm going to mattress stitch it in March and hopefully do an I-cord bind off or edging, border, whatever. So I'm giving myself more time to finish my projects, but I only have 5 or 6 projects and I want to finish them this year.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Well, I'm just looking to see if I had anything else in here.
I do have one other finished project that I can say real fast.
Oh, no, go ahead. I didn't know we had something else.
My stocking. So again.
Oh, right. The really, really big stocking.
Yeah. So I knit the stockings. This is last year's Advent pattern that was with the Legacy Fiber Arts Advent calendar. See how big it is?
Just keeps going and going and going.
And then like last January of 2022, it went like public. And I knit 2 in 2022. So the kids were covered. And now I'm knitting 2 this year so that like my husband, myself, my 2 kids, and one of the significant others. But what I'm doing is like, it's not a specific person for the ones that already exist, but this is remix. Who does the remix? Barocco Light remix. I bought 3 colors intending to do a different project, but ended up using it in this, and there's enough left over to make its mate. So my son and his partner are going to have semi-matching stockings. Because I've swapped out some of the patterns. And this is called Not on the Naughty List because it's huge.
You mentioned that you're going to line it with fabric too.
I am. And none of them are lined yet because I'm going to finish all of them and then line them all the same. I'm thinking I might line them in jersey knit so that it also stretches.
Mm-hmm.
But I may end up lining them in something like a quilting cotton so that it doesn't stretch. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
But stay tuned because by November, I should have 2 stockings. And my goal for this was to do 4 stripes per month. And then I got to end of... Oh, and I had to double up January because I wanted to be done by November. So I had 8 done, and then I did February, and I did March, and then I just finished because color work is addictive.
It is. I know. Well, I said that I was only going to do a stripe a month, but I don't want to stop at a stripe. But I also don't want to commit to that in December because I can't.
Right.
I can't commit to it in December.
Well, and that's the other thing with this stocking. I was like, come summertime, I'm going to put them away and I'm going to forget. And then in November, I'm going to be racing to finish. So I'm totally okay with having finished it in March. And then that's the project also that I needed the needle to work on the hat I want to make. So I'll do hats for a little bit and then I'll go back and do the second stocking and then I'll go back to hats.
Mm-hmm. Sue was asking if it is a pattern yet. Yes, it is. I've got the banner up, Sue. It is called Not on the Naughty List. And you can find that in Natalie's. Did I say that right? It is?
Yep, not
Yep.
on the naughty list.
You can find that in her patterns on Ravelry and Spotify. No, not Spotify. Spotify is
Shopify.
music. Shopify.
Rebecca, it can be a challenge to fill them, which is why I'm leaning towards the quilting cotton, because that will hold its shape. But also my children are grown, so what they're getting in there is like a pair of socks or, you know, like things that, and we're not big on stuffing to the brim. So if there's 3 things in there, that's cool.
Mhm.
And RK, I don't know the actual name, but it says RK as the initials. It is perfect for Advent minis because there's 24 sections, and it was
Mhm.
designed for an Advent calendar. So the people who bought it with the kit originally got the 24 colors plus a 50-gram skein of white. And if you get gauge, a 50-gram skein of your second color is enough.
Mhm.
Now, I have done them in scraps. I did one in the actual kit. I did one as a prototype that was just like jewel tones and black and white. These ones, I just picked 3 colors. And then there will probably be a 6th just in case my other son has a partner at some point. And I'm like, I don't want to race if it's last minute. So I will probably have a 6th.
Well, the stockings don't have to be filled either. You
No,
can
exactly.
just do them as decorations. They're beautiful to have around the house if you have a fireplace and you want to hang them up or hang them on your door.
At the end of our dining room, we have this shelf that has like pegs on it. And there are 9 pegs. So I'm like, I could make 9 eventually and hang one from each peg.
It's very ambitious.
Well, if I do 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah. Yeah. But they look great.
Yeah,
They're
I really
pretty.
like them. And like you start and you can't put it down because you can go through and pick which pattern and which colors and what goes next and just one more row.
Julia says magazines
that
are a
is a
good
good.
fill for a stocking.
When the boys were little, we did Archie comics. And I saw one in
Oh,
a
yeah.
store the other day and I thought, I can't believe I put Archie comics in their little tiny children's stockings, because my husband always had them in his, so we just bought them. And then one time I read one and I was like, my kids are too young for Archie comics.
Do they still sell comics like that?
They do. They still sell Archie at the grocery store.
How much does Archie sell for at the grocery
I
store
have
these days?
no idea.
I can't even imagine.
I saw it when we were at the checkout the other day, but I didn't look. A false bottom. That's funny.
That's a good idea.
Halfway through.
And Linda said her definition of languishing is a bit more like 2 or 3 years languishing. Well, some of mine have been 2 or 3. Not this hat set, Linda. That was fairly recent, but some of the finishes that I've finished have been pretty languishing. Maybe not a couple of years, but I don't know. I don't like to have a long whip list. Well,
Me either.
Because I like to have them at hand, like at arm's reach, because you never know when the mood is going to strike you that you want to pick that up. So it tends to be a bit of a pile around my chair. And it got pointed out to me by the mister that the pile was getting rather large. So I thought, okay, well, I better put some of these things to bed, get them finished, and move on. But
my languishing whips were all started last year and got put away for like end of season, or I need this other thing real quick for a gift, and sometimes once I put it down, if I start something else, I'm like, oh, I'll get back to it. And one of my projects I started in March of last year and I haven't picked up since I put it down. So those are the ones I want to finish.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's a good sense of accomplishment when you do get something done, though, right? You admire it for a minute and then move on to the next thing. That's what I find anyway. I'm like, yay, I'm done. Okay, now what? So anyway, we're getting close to that time, but I wanted to check in and talk about some things that we have going on in our Ravelry group. We talk about these every week, but I should also say Noelle will be back next week. And we will then announce the prize for the socks. So we have I'll go in and find a banner. We have a sock prize or year-long sock along, and this is the banner for it if you want to participate and put your pictures up on Instagram, or you can find us in Ravelry. It's very easy. Finish socks. Oh, excuse me. There's a yawn. Finish socks, put them in the group, and each month at the end, the last day of the month, we draw 2 prizes, and one is a prize very generously gifted by our friend Natalie, who's here joining us tonight, and the other is a yarn sock prize. That's Makealong number 1. We run that all year long. So even if you entered in January, you're still eligible to win all the way through till the end of December. And the next thing that we have going is KNP Smash That Stash. And this is a fun thing because it's basically anything that you had in stash prior to January 1st of 2023. Use more than 50 grams, make a project. And we're running this all year long, but the rules are slightly different in that we are drawing at the end of each quarter, but only that quarter's entries will count towards that quarter. So it isn't a thing that's carrying all through the year, but you have 3 months. So that's to encourage you to get 4 things in for the year or more. And this is something that you can also participate in Natalie's Make Along. And as you said, you've got that going on is it in your Ravelry group or on Instagram?
It's on Instagram.
On Instagram. And do you want to go over those details again?
So the pair of Merriam Bright socks is one category. The 12 Merriam Bright baubles is another category. And then the socks and the baubles together, if you make the whole set, that's another category. Oh, and I'll say I started making the prize for the baubles, and if it works, it's going to be a really good prize.
So that's encouragement. And you can double dip because you can do any of Natalie's color work projects for her Make Along would qualify in our Smash That Stash as long as you use more than 50 grams. So you could be like double dipping.
Like, so 10 of these is 50 grams.
Exactly. So you could.
And the point is 12. So you'd be at 60 if you made the big ones.
There you go. So encouragement. Okay.
And I think every project I'm making this year, everything I've planned this year is with stash. So I'm totally entering Smash That Stash projects.
Oh, one last thing I wanted to put up here. Just a moment. This code, KNP25, will get you a 25% discount on any of Natalie's patterns from now until next week when KnitChat is finished. So
I think I've set it to end at midnight that day, like midnight my time. So
okay. So if there's something that we talked about tonight or something that Natalie showed that you're just itching to get onto needles, this is the time to do it and get a discount code on the patterns. There isn't a pattern that she has that is not fun to do. You're the color work queen, really you are.
I have a lot of fun doing them.
We have a lot of fun knitting them. Yeah, absolutely.
I think you have a third. Is the other cowl done? The Marie Wallen?
No, it's not. Thank you. Okay. Marie Wallen, the Burra cowl. So it's any Marie Wallen pattern, and this is a year-long one as well. Okay. And there are several other podcasters. I've got them there in the banner on the screen that are hosting this, and that's the rules. That's yawn number 2. Did I say I chased a toddler for an entire weekend? I'm not caught up from it yet. Kendall texted me this morning and she said they got home last night. She and Miles were in bed at 8:30 and didn't hear a peep out of them until morning. And I stayed up way too late. And now I'm wishing I didn't. So anyway.
Lynn, it is KNP are all capitals and then just 25 the digits.
Sorry, I did that wrong. I will add that. I'll make sure I capitalize that. I'll add that to the show notes when I go in and add the timestamps as soon as I'm done. I will put some things in there as well that we talked about tonight. And Natalie's, I don't know, what do you call it if it's Instagram? I don't want to call it your handle, but what
Isn't
is
it a
it?
handle?
Is it a handle?
I don't
Anyway, it's on the
that's
bottom
right.
of the screen now. So if you don't follow Natalie on Instagram, I encourage you to. She's often showing off her creative things that she's making either in the pottery studio or on her needles. And I really want to say thank you too for joining me tonight, helping
I
me
love
out.
joining.
We love having you. It's
was
always
so-
fun.
I was telling a friend today, the thought of a podcast horrifies me, but I love being a guest on a podcast.
Yes. And we love that all of you have joined in with us tonight too. So we will be back next Tuesday, same time, same place. And Noelle will be back in the other chair again. We don't know where she'll be coming from, but it worked
from
out
New
pretty
Zealand?
well. Still from New Zealand.
Nice.
I don't know where she is next week in New Zealand. She FaceTimed me last night. I don't think she even told me where she was last night, but anyway, we haven't lost her yet. We're keeping good track of her. So she's halfway through her trip now. She's just past the
Nice.
2-week mark. But anyway. Okay, everybody. Is that the cat?
Yeah, she got tangled in my headphones. This is Chloe. She's a rescue. She only has one eye, poor thing. Which means my husband spoils her beyond belief.
Oh, God. She's super cute. Super cute. All right, friends. Good night. Thanks for hanging out with us, and happy knitting.
Happy knitting, everyone.